with each kick and with each strike he was throwing, I could feel him going, "Argh!" And like even over the crowd, I could hear his breathing. You know, like even at distance, I was like, "Go fuck yourself." See you later. Hey, see ya at the commentary booth.
I was going to say, probably next 6 weeks or something, we'll get some of them.
Yeah, we'll try to get some sorted. Hey.
Nice. We're here with.
I haven't shouted out Leon Arms in any of my interviews, so I'll do it in this one.
In this one, indeed, we're here with Harry Hardwick. Harry, first title defense in Cage Warriors. That was a performance. You really snake charmed him there. You know.
That's a good way of putting it. Like I had him on a leash. He was fighting at a pace that he didn't want to fight at. He couldn't fight at. I knew I could drag him into it, and then as he got tired, I could hear his breathing from like distance over the crowd. I could hear his breathing between rounds. I could see it, like his chest expanding, and it's like it wasn't like filling himself up. He was like, ugh, and like as he was exhaling, his posture was breaking. I could feel it, and I just had him. I just worked him over. There were a few moments where I thought I could have capitalized more on his misses, but you got in-fight senses for a reason, and I've developed those for over a long period of time. I've had many fights. And like it was what we were trying to tell Leon, like me, Abdul, Pete, and obviously Mark and Jake. We were all just telling him like, trust your in-fight senses. You know, like trust what you do. And he just boom did it. And he was like, oh, it's great. And I'm like, you see, you don't need to force anything. You're good. You know what you're doing. But yeah, buzzing to have shared a card with him. Buzzing to have both got the stoppage win. Yeah, fuck me, what a night. As well, I'm sorry, I'm waffling, mate. No, 5 years ago today, I beat Nathan Rose, like in a wild fight where I got cut and I came through it and I battered him. And if I had a fourth round in that fight, I'd have finished him. And then, well, hey, job's a good one. As you can tell, I'm getting a little bit delirious at this point.
It's all good. You mentioned Leon, so I'll ask you a question about him. How impressed were you with his performance, and how proud of you are you of him that he's got his finish?
Yeah, I'm so impressed with him. I'm so proud of that kid. I really admire what he's doing. Like obviously, because he's just a young kid from North Ormsby. He gets nicknamed Doggy. It's like it is. There's a few theories to that, but I won't bore you. It is like he's not really seen much of the world, and then to go away from his comfort zone, to go all the way to San Diego, to train with different bodies, different coaches, to adapt. It's really just brought him on as a human being more than anything. Like he's always been a really good fighter. He's always had that intuition about him. That there is nothing on earth that Leon Arms should be doing other than fighting. But to just see how much he's grown in these past few years. Obviously, it was a bit too early to turn him pro, and it was also handing him over to someone else, which I was like, he's my boy. But he's just, he makes me proud all the time. The improvements between the last fight and this fight, that kid is going all the fucking way. And like, no matter where he is, he could be in San Diego, he could be in Timbuktu. I always have his back. I'm always supporting him, and I'm always proud of him.
Come on. And it's obviously, 2-2 for you boys at MFA tonight.
And the 6-2 win at Oxford.
Indeed. I can agree with you that Carrick is a legend. I'm a Manchester United fan from Manchester, so I'll agree with that. I
mean, Carrick is literally just from Wall's End down the road as well, so full circle.
Go on, lad, go on. Obviously, I was speaking to Leon before, and I was saying to him that he's a character, and so seems like a lot of you from from Borough as well. Yourself, you're a showman, you're an entertainer. You know, you're there with your guitar on the title. The gold entrance as well. That was a nice one.
I've been meaning to do that for years. Do you know what? I was very close to entering into some Deftones because I was so sad that Nick Diaz was probably going to get chinned by Vicente Luque, and I fucking love Nick Diaz. Like, Nick, if you had, in the highly unlikely circumstances you're watching this, your Strikeforce title run showed me that there was a way that like people with sort of our kind of athleticism could punch and weaponize pace. So, like, without Nick Diaz and Nate Diaz, but particularly Nick Diaz's Strikeforce title run, I wouldn't have maybe developed the style that I've got now. I wouldn't be able to, like, tire out these big, explosive, experienced guys, and I wouldn't be living this life I live now. So, Nick, I hope you're doing well. I know you'll almost certainly not see this, but my life, my brother's life, my teammates' lives are all better because of you and what you've done.
Come on, real, recognize real. And I know you talked about obviously what's next. Talked about the UFC. It seems to me, there's two standout featherweights in this division in Cage Warriors. Yourself, obviously, as the title holder. For me, UFC has to be for next, and also Luke Riley. I, for one, don't want to see you defend again in the UFC. In Cage Warriors. Yeah. I would like to see that potential fight in the UFC. What's your thoughts on Luke Riley as a fighter in itself and that potential matchup in the UFC?
See, I've trained with Luke on a few occasions, and obviously we've trained at Next Gen. We have a good relationship with that gym. I think certain other pros and other people I've talked to can be like unfairly dismissive of Luke's skills. I think like they'll think, oh, he's got in these wars, he's took a lot of damage, but no, he's got a good game, and like he's. I'm not going to go into detail about it because you never talk about sparring at another gym and what happens. But like he has a good craft about him. He's a solid fighter. I like him. It would be a shame if we had to fight. Obviously, if there is a fight in UK MMA that's going to sell out a stadium, it would be that one. Unfortunately, we're both competitors. We both do it. We'd both get in there and get after each other. But I do admire Luke Riley. I can see how much he's improving. Like. I sparred with him ages ago back when he was a bantamweight, and then I sparred him again before he fought that American geezer. It was obviously a little bit of a weird sparring session because he was like, that was his last spar before a fight, and George had just had his jaw broken and had gone off to hospital, but I stayed in the gym and sparred. So it was like a little bit of a weird spar, but I could tell, even in that kind of lighter sparring, I was like, all right, he's improved this, he's worked on this. So I have a ton of respect for Luke Riley. I wouldn't like that fight to happen, but if it does, it needs to be something big. It needs to be something special. Like for both of us to put the relationship between us and their gym. Next Gen's an amazing gym. Paul Rimmer, Paddy, Luke, Adam, fucking Nathan Fletcher is like unbelievable. Like the first time I sparred him, I was like, oh, like he's a smaller weight class. And then when I watched him spar George, I was like, oh my god, this kid's fucking really good. That whole gym, I really like him. Jake McHugh, he's not in Cage Warriors, but he's another one you should keep your eye on.
Yep.
So like, it would suck if that fight had to happen, but we are competitors. We would do it if push came to shove, but I do respect him. I respect him as a competitor. I respect his record. I respect what he's done. And I wholeheartedly believe had the visa issues not happened, he'd have made that Argentinian kid look silly on Contender Series. It's just unfortunate that it happened the way it did.
All right, humbling winning. Obviously, you got the title there. Your well-deserved break, obviously, now. Hopefully, you have a great Christmas.
I'm going to get fat as fuck over Christmas. I'm coming for the heavyweight belt. James, I'll go light everywhere first. James Webb, I'm coming for you.
Love it, brother. All the best, man. And have a palmer on me, yeah?
Up the bar.